everybody, welcome to the channel. We are coming in with, we're just going to jump right in and start with the Vogue pattern that you all selected. Thank you again for choosing. We have Vogue 1671. I will pop up the picture of the pattern here. I am doing view A, and yeah, the shorter version. And so yeah, let's jump into it. What I in looking at the measurements, again, with the Vogue patterns I had been sewing over the past couple months, I noticed that I definitely need to start smaller at the shoulders because I do have a more narrow shoulder using my high bust measurement. And so I'm doing that again for this as well. So I am going to start out in the shoulder. Typically I would do a size 18 and then grade out to a 20 based on the past couple Vogue patterns I have made, but seeing that the it looks by the line drawing that binding around the arm, the they call, what do they call that piece? Well, I'm calling it the contrasting piece around the arm, and everything goes a little off the shoulder a little bit. I think I'm gonna chance it and go at a 16 up here and then grade out to a 20 right at the bust. I was thinking maybe I could do a full bust adjustment, but just based on the pattern pieces, and there is an inset piece right there in the middle, I'm just gonna go for it. Not gonna even do a full bust adjustment. We'll see how that works. But yeah, that's what we are going to do. Again, for the fabric, we have this beautiful viscose linen from Minerva. I have 3 meters of this, so more than enough. This the bodice piece is lined, and so there should be enough for that, because I did go to Joann Fabrics and just picked up, there's actually navy and black in the leaves in this, but from a distance it's gonna look more black than anything. And Joann's only had the black, they had the viscose linen as well, so it's the same drape. That works out really well. And then when I looked at the, you guys, I'm sorry cutting you off here. So when looking at the pattern piece, the finished garment measurement for a 20 is a 44.5. From, again, sewing the past few pieces from Vogue, and I'll leave a playlist up here of the Vogue patterns I've sewn. I'm gonna start doing that going forward, from a particular pattern company commercial. For sure, I will create a playlist so you can kind of see what I've made from those, and I'll slowly get the rest of the videos that I've done in the past few years, try to get those organized in there. But for right now, you see the more recent Vogue patterns that I have made in that playlist. But for this, the finished garment measurement for a 20 is a 44.5. Now my full bust is a 45-inch full bust, but again, based on, you know, making things the Vogue pattern, I am going to go with the 16 starting up here, and I'll go about right here and then go out to a 20. And yeah, and we're gonna go, and I'm gonna do a 20 all the way down, from a 20 here all the way down for the skirt and everything. So yeah, I am going to go ahead and get these pieces cut out. You'll just join me here as I cut everything out. That might be in the next clip, or it might be in the same clip, but I'm just getting some things organized here. And yeah, let's get started. Okay, before I get started, I wanted to share how I grade out. So as I said, I'm starting at a 16. I darkened this so you can see, because this is the narrow part of my shoulder. So I went ahead and started at a size 16 at the top in the shoulder area. Then I started grading out to an 18, and then I grade out finally to the size 20 before the notches. That's just how I like to do it. And then the rest is a size 20, and then I just darken my line so I can see what I and I just used a color highlighter just so I can see the dart placement and trace that. And then also same thing for, this is actually the bodice front. I did the exact same thing here and grading out to a 20 right before that notch, so the notches will be at the same size. And of course the notches for the side front and the front bust waist dart are all at a size 20. So I just wanted to show that real quick. And so yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and get started with everything. Okay, I had to come in and show the oopsie with my cutting out of the fabric. I accidentally cut out all of the lining front piece. I didn't mean to do that because the lining, I was going to go back to Joann's and line it in the black viscose linen because I didn't have enough of this to fully line it, the top and the bottom. But so here we are. Here's the front piece. I can cut two, right? And then here is the back piece where I can cut two. But as you can tell, there is not enough fabric. So what I am going to need to do is piece together the back bottom cut. You know, I'll finagle it. It'll work. But yeah. Oh, okay, quick update. I played around with it a little bit more and was able to get my back piece all on the fabric. I, rearranged the other piece, and yes, so happy. But I still have to go get lining for the back lining piece, and that's it. But whew. Okay, so wouldn't you believe it, I cut out that front piece on the main fabric that was meant for lining, and I'm just gonna thread my machine. I'm gonna use this orange, this deep orange I had got from Wawak, and it's a nice contrast against that. But anyway, so I really didn't want to have to go to Joann's and pick up more fabric, and I only need like 3/4 of a yard. I might have a look around my stash that I have to see if I have about that much in black. A cotton, I don't think I have any linen. I actually don't think I have any cotton, so we'll see. So that means I'm gonna have to go put a pause on things for the day, because when I start sewing it, when I was looking at the instructions, it looks relatively straightforward for the most part. So I just want to sit and just go and not have to pause and, you know, wait and all that different type of stuff. So I am going to pick up in a whole new day. Well, it's actually a whole new day anyway, but from the when I first started the video. But yeah, that's what I'm gonna do. I need to do a fill up a bobbin. So, and my bobbins, you're like sitting right over my bobbin, my empty bobbin. So anyway, yeah, so that is what I'm gonna have to do. I'm gonna have to run to Joann's, and then we are getting started, but everything else is cut out. Interfacing, everything is cut out, and I'm ready to go. And so yeah, I can kick myself for that, because I had enough of the regular, you know, the main fabric, and I just wasn't thinking to get extra when I went to Joann's for the other piece. But anyway, all right, next clip you'll see is me sewing her up. When my darts pretty much stitch in the right, here's my marking just a little, ever so slightly off, but I am okay with that. It looks good. Now to finish the rest. Okay, I have been trucking along here and thought I would pause because I've put the inset in. I don't know if you can tell. So I've already put the front bands on. So this is the front of the bodice, if you can, yeah. That's the front of the bodice, right? So then I put the inset in and I'm thinking, you know, you can overthink. And so let me flip this over. So how the inset goes after you put it right sides together and you understitch, you're doing a lot of understitching in this pattern. Let me turn this right side up. So essentially, so you put the inset in and then you put right sides together of the front bodice and the inset. So once it's sewn in, I'm flipping it back over now to the front. This is how it's going to look with the inset. Let me move the rest of this out of the way. So you see that little peak of the inset there, and you don't stitch that down. I'm assuming as once the body, the skirt gets attached, that's what's gonna kind of keep this sort of closed. But you will get that peekaboo right up in the front, which I am liking. It's just how the pattern is, just a little peekaboo. So that's going to be a little bit of that peekaboo in the front. But what I can tell, because this bodice is fully lined, is that all of this is going to be hidden. So there will be no seams. But anyway, I am going to keep going. Okay, so I am popping in real quick because now I am having issues with the armband. So of course I got the front, the inset all on here really nice, right? And so then you have the armhole, which you have to stay stitch, which is fine. But the problem is, and unless I'm just thinking too far into it, so this is the back. This is the back of the armband. It goes on here, but it doesn't fit the whole arm piece. Let me see if I can, let me try to. So it doesn't fit the entire arm piece, matching it at the shoulder seams, right? And this is the front, and it meets to the notches, which I'm wondering if that's how it's supposed to be, because that's what the picture shows, in my opinion, that it's supposed to meet all the way, the entire arm side, and it doesn't. This only goes to the notches for the front and the back. So I pulled out the pattern piece just to see. So I put the armband on the front bodice just to see where it stops, and it stops at the notches. So I'm like, okay, and yes, there's a dart here, but there's still room underneath. So we'll see if I have a better mind. And I did the same thing with the back piece as well. We'll see if it stops right at the notches. And so we'll see if I have a better mind, if I should have recut this and taken it all, because it seemed like, in my opinion, it should go all the way to the end, not up here to the notches, because by the time you sew this in, I don't know. We shall see. I'm going to see how this turns out. Okay, so now it's time for me to attach the lining to the bodice. So what it says, and we are at step 25, I would just lay out flat the main bodice piece, and if you can tell, the arm insets are turned inwards there, so they're facing right sides together. And then you just lay, so you can see that you're properly laying your lining on top of your main bodice piece. Okay, so what I wanted to show you, and this is why I lay things out, because I know sometimes for me, I can get things kind of mixed up. So when you lay right sides together, so what's happening is, if you remember the insets in the front you did, those were the raw edges. So now you're sewing through all of that thickness. But the inset, I sewed mine in backwards, because I should see raw edges here. I should see raw edges here. So when I'm sewing down the lining, it's supposed to, you see these raw edges here? It should be raw edges here. So I actually just need to unpick this on both sides and make sure the raw edges are, you can see the raw edges, because I knew when I put the inset in, I knew that in the end all of the raw edges would be hidden, but I just sewed it in backwards, that's all. So that is what I am going to do. Again, you can see all this raw edge, and when you're attaching this to that, once you turn the right side out, all of that will be hidden. But as you can tell down here, I sewed it in the wrong way. So I'm just going to go ahead and fix that. And then it calls for you to go ahead and sew all of the neckline and then all of the armhole piece. And so I will go ahead and do that. Okay, I just want to come back real quick and show you that how I fixed it, just in case you were confused. So now you see the raw edges. So when I lay the bodice lining I'll be able to connect the neckline all the way down in the arm size as well. But so I'm going to go ahead and do that and move on to the next step. All right, coming in, I am so frustrated with this pattern. So frustrated. Okay, so as you can tell, I have, you know, added the lining, turned everything right side out, right? This here, I tried turning this out through the armholes, and because you had the inset already attached, right? It would not turn. For whatever reason, it would not turn. And I looked and looked and looked and looked back at their instructions, and I put it in the way they said, even when I took it back out. So as you can tell in here, it looks all nice and clean, and in here, no, what I end up doing was seam ripping this entire piece out so I can turn this, right? And so what I end up having to do was, let me turn this over so you can see. So on the inside, I just serged the edge of the inset and just stitched really close to the line. I had to change my thread and just set it in there like this because it was not turning. It just was not turning, and I could not figure it out, and I could not keep unpicking this fabric because it was starting to fray really bad. And then get this. All right, check this out. The armbands are open. Apparently I missed a step, or something wasn't clear, because when I go back through the instructions where it talks about the armhole band, nothing in here talks about attaching anything for it to meet so it comes out fine. I don't get it. I obviously did something wrong. But I cannot for the life of me figure out what I did. So I am going to finish this dress off camera. I'll be back in the end with a full review and look. Okay, she is finished. This is the final garment. Okay, so I'm gonna give myself, because I'm wearing this coming up weekend, so I'm gonna give myself some time to figure out how I want to deal with this. I'm thinking the best way is to, I don't know. I don't know. I'm still mad about those instructions though, but that is the finished look, and it still doesn't go all the way down. It looks on the model to me like it goes all the way down, but it's not, and obviously that's closed in because it's fully lined. The other thing I don't like, I'm surprised that they didn't do a better finish with this zipper. So I did finish the edge before putting the zipper in, and yeah, she needs just a little bit of a press, but yeah, she is done. You will see at the review how the final look, and I finished her off. Okay, it's been some time now, and I've tried it on again, and this one is not a go, unfortunately. The first time I gambled on sizing and was incorrect. Up here looks fine, right? Yes, but it's the waist. It's like no room in the waist. Okay, sorry about that. I don't know where I got cut off. Had to go take care of something real quick. So like I was saying, this here around in this area is tight at the waist, and the skirt, I feel like I could have used another, I should have just cut the largest size. I don't mind this fit here. I think the fit around the shoulders is good. Up here, I feel like this bunching in the back. Now, it goes up that high on the neck. So at first when I put this on, I'm like, is this supposed to sit up this high? I'm not used to a neck sitting up that high. But when I look at the line drawing, it does go all the way up in the back. So that is fitting how it's supposed to. I did check here on the shoulder seam. The seam is sitting right on my natural shoulder. So that bunching back here is not from a forward kind of neck situation, but hopefully you can tell. See, this here is just, it's tight. I need more room here so this can relax. All of this can relax. And so far as this area, see, my whole bra is showing. Obviously that's not how that's supposed to be. And so I'm thinking, okay, how do I fix all of this? So what I'm thinking, because remember that the armhole band, you had the inset there, or not the inset, but the it's 2 pieces. I'm thinking of cutting the lower piece out underneath, the underneath piece. Cut all of that out and then go get more of the black rayon linen from Joann's and do a puff sleeve that goes to about right here. But the thing is, I am going to have to clip into here. I can't unpick it and go in. I know somebody's probably thinking that I go in and do all that. I have put this area through the ringer. It is understitched. It is stitched. It is stitched to an inch of its, not even an inch, like millimeters of its life. So I can't do all of that. So it's not going to be pretty. But because this is lined, I'm just going to unpick just this piece right here, so then the raw edges are out. And when I'll have to draft the puff sleeve to go on, and I'll just make sure as it's attached, because remember this underneath isn't attached, I can just attach it here, make sure it goes into the arm side, and just attach to this edge and make it a puff sleeve. That way all of that is covered and I don't have that to worry about. And so then it'll be wearable at that point, but it's gonna be snug. That's the thing. It will be snug. So that is my thought. Oh, and I did tack down this front here too, because that part was flopping, and I did notice some tacking down in the pattern, so I did just tack that down right there. This is down here is fine, and I should have popped up video. Pockets, love how deep these pockets are. But yeah, let me come in, take this off, come in with my final thoughts, and I definitely want your opinions and your thoughts. But that's what I'm gonna do, a puff sleeve that go about right here, that, you know, obviously it's gonna cover. I'm not sure why is all this extra anyway, unless at the end of the day, maybe, I don't know. Give me your thoughts. All right, everybody, come on in. We are about to wrap this video up. As you can tell, it is sometime later. I am coming in with my final thoughts and a full review of this pattern. So again, and I'll pop up the picture. You all know we are over here laughing at Vogue 1671, so, which is not funny. So I do have quite a bit of notes in my pattern here that I want to share with you. So if you decide to make this pattern, just keep your eye open for a few things. I have the dress here behind me. You saw my final kind of picture. Sorry for the fuzzy camera shot, that was from my phone, but where you saw how it fits on me and everything, you see that it's snug around the waist. I really think I could have just did the highest size, which is a size 22 for sure, because I thought it was just too snug around the waist, at least for my comfort. I want some ease in there. And so yeah, let me know your thoughts on like what I said. I believe I said the fix I believe I want to do in the dress for the sleeves, and I'll bring it back down here in just a moment. But overall assessment of the pattern, I think the pattern, okay, aside from those couple things that I showed you that I had an issue with, and I'm actually gonna throw in a clip right here. It is step 17. Okay, so here is what I'm thinking that I went wrong on the arm bands. You see here, how you attach it here. I sewed along the seam line, but apparently you're supposed to turn this in, it looks like, on the edge, and then stitch that edge in, not the seam line edge. But as you can tell by the instructions, it says pin armhole band to bodice right sides together, matching notches and seams, clipping bodice armhole where necessary, stitch. It doesn't tell you where to stitch, but in this picture it looks like you would stitch here, although I'm still not convinced it would have turned out right. I mean, this just did not make sense at all. So, you know, having taken some time, because I've made it and everything like that, and kind of wallowing through my mind, okay, how did this happen with these sleeves? And so, like I said, for that step 17, like I showed in that clip, it doesn't say to sew on that, how to sew it in. And so obviously if I'm attaching two pieces together, I'm sewing at the seam line, not sewing in to the garment. I'm still kind of not clear in my mind how that would have still connected the pieces. I don't know, I'm not seeing that far of it, so unless I'm just not understanding it. And yes, there are reviews on Pattern Review, and their dresses look beautiful. And actually this dress does not look bad, except for that sleeve and the snugness around the waist. Outside of that, it looks fine. You might have saw in the clip I had on a slip, because I just want to see how a slip would feel up underneath that, or if I needed a slip, because I did line. I went back, when I went back and got that extra black linen to cut out the lining. Remember I said I had already cut out the lining piece of the front and the fashion fabric? Well, I decided to line the whole skirt in the black linen viscose. And so I do have this piece of fabric left. And so yeah, this here can be I already have a couple ideas. I have a few chunks of fabric that I just want to cut bias binding out of, and this is some good fodder for that, or it can be pockets for something else. But anyway, it's going in that little pile. I only have a couple pieces over there, so I'm just going to add this. So because I wanted the whole skirt to be in that black viscose lining, and not the front part of the lining in this and the back part of the lining in the black viscose. So yeah. And then so far as, let me go back, because again, some time has passed now. I was able to go back and kind of think and look. Step number 14 is where that inset piece goes in. Essentially what I did was, remember early on in the in me making this, I showed how when I was trying to turn it in right side out, that I couldn't turn that inset piece. And it's because when I showed you that clip that I sewed it in the wrong way. Well, when I sewed it, turned it around to sew it in, I sewed it to the both the front and the back, or the lining and the main fabric. I should have only flipped that piece over, the inset over, and sewed it to the fashion fabric, the outside fabric, not both. And that's what I did, and that's what was causing me not to be able to turn it all the way out. So keep that in mind if that happened. But I told you how it looks on the inside. But had I reattached it the right way, I would have had to take the lining off and then flip that piece over and then attach it. But because I didn't, you will have that whole inside totally clean. You wouldn't see any of that like you do on mine. So again, having taken a step back and and revisit it, that is something else. And then a couple things that I will say is make sure that you measure the bust darts placement. I forgot to do that on this. Now, because of the busyness of this fabric, you can't even see where the dart is on me. But I think from what I can tell, I would have moved it down just ever so slightly on the bodice front. So make sure you measure that. I totally just didn't think of that, because I would have, I don't know that I would have, yeah, I would have had to do that on the lining and the fashion fabric, right? And then as you are going through assembling the pieces, so the bodice, because this is one of those that, I mean, I don't enjoy darts. Obviously darts give shape in it, and I love that about darts. I love its meaning. But when you have a bodice that has, the front bodice has 2 darts and the back bodice has 2 darts, and so yeah, and then multiply that by, you got 2 front, 2 back, and then you got to do that twice, so that's 8 pieces. So that's 8 pieces that needs darts. And oh, in the instructions it has you do the fashion fabric first, do everything with the darts, put the darts in, da 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 da, assemble that. I say once you're doing the darts for your fashion fabric, go ahead and do it for the lining, because it's the same. Nothing about that part of the process is changing, right? Just to save yourself some time. Do again be on the lookout for steps 17 and 14. That 14, that's the inset piece that you put that on in the right way, and then step 17, which is where you put the armband on, armhole bands on. That, yeah, that's just really weird. Outside of that, I don't think there was anything else. I absolutely love these pockets, so I will be tracing off the pocket from this pattern, and that's going to be my go-to pocket because I love how deep the pocket is. It is deep and roomy, so I do like that. As it gets towards the end and you're getting ready to put in the this is after you, right before you get ready to put it in the zipper. One thing I found strange, once you attach all this lining and not seeing any of your interior seams, I found it strange once you attach the bodice to the lining, I'm sorry, the bodice to the skirt, that was a visible seam. You're not hiding that seam. And so and I'll show you mine. So once you attach the bodice to the skirt pieces, then you need to serge it or bias bind it to make it pretty, while the rest of the dress, all the seams are hidden. So I thought that was strange. And then the last thing I thought was strange was the zipper. I thought that was strange. I'm thinking, you have a fully lined bodice, why are we seeing any parts of the zipper? Now the pattern calls for a invisible zipper, but I chose to use an exposed zipper. This dress is heavy, and before I put the zipper in, I was like, wow, this dress is kind of heavy. I'm going to use a regular zipper. I'm not going to use a invisible zipper. One, I was thinking, well, you know, I thought that all of that would be enclosed, and I was thinking, this feels kind of heavy. Let me just, you know, I didn't know. I didn't want to mess up putting in the invisible zipper, so I just stuck with the regular zipper. But I found that strange that you don't hide the zipper, enclose the zipper. You know how some patterns, I've done many patterns like that, where the zipper is completely enclosed between the lining and the main fashion fabric, so you don't see any of that. So that's what I expected the ending to be, and it was not. You see the zipper. And so but yeah, other than that, you know, I like the pattern. I do like it. I'm on the fence whether I would make this again. I wouldn't mind giving it a try, but I do know from my notes that, and I have plenty notes on this pattern, that I would definitely have to grade out, because I did cut the actual pattern pieces. The bodice was fine, except for, let me back up, except for you guys saw all of that. I don't know why that so much is exposed there underneath. That didn't make sense to me, and that didn't look like anybody's. Although I will say the model on the front of the pattern, and I think the couple I saw on the couple reviews I saw on patternreview.com, they were all smaller busted. So they weren't full bust like me, but that shouldn't have had anything to do with it. I don't know. I don't know. View B on the cover, you do see the lady in the yellow. You do see her underarm there, but it's not that much exposure like it is on mine. So I'm not sure what that is. That shouldn't be, right? But, and I was thinking, I was like, well, maybe I needed to do a full bust adjustment, but that's taking care of this. I guess it would have made it smaller over here. See, again, I have to think that through. If you have any thoughts, definitely let me know down in the comments. And when I look at the line drawing, it do look like, the line drawing does look like that underarm is set low. I don't know. That was just too much exposure to me. So that's why I came up with that fix. Let me show you the dress. So you'll see this again when I fix this, because I am not a UFO girl. I do not like unfinished objects, projects. I just cannot. I cannot with that. It's something about my brain just cannot accept that. So this coming up week, actually Joann Fabrics, the sale ends at the end of the month, probably the 29th. I think it's the 29th, actually on Labor Day. They are, because when I went back to get more of the viscose linen blend, it was on sale. It was 50 or 60% off a yard, and that sale ends on the 29th. And so I plan to go back because there was a couple other colors that I saw I wanted to pick up, but I plan to go back before that sale ends and grab, I need to measure all of this. And I don't want the sleeve to be long, maybe about right here, because I'm gonna put elastic in elastic casing just to make it poof out just a little bit more. And I figure with this here, it'll poof out. Again, let me know your thoughts. But like I said, this, because it's two pieces, it's this under piece. I'm gonna cut all of this out, cut as close to the seam as I can, because it's all enclosed, it's all understitched. So me trying to unpick all of this, I'm not doing it. I'm not doing that. But I can get in between these seams here and open this. So when I go to attach the puff sleeve, I can still stitch it to this part, right? And go all the way around. I hope that makes sense. If you guys got a better idea, let me know. But that's what I plan to do. Other than that, I think the dress is beautiful. And like I said, initially I thought I did something wrong with the neckline, because I'm thinking, wow, that's up kind of high. But that's how it is on the model and on the line drawing. So I did good with lining up my cross seams here. So I do like that. And then this is what I was saying about the zipper. See how that's exposed? So I was sure to go ahead and at least serge the seam. So it's the seam is serged, and then put this in, but this is fully lined. Why are we seeing the zipper? So that's not something I looked at before, or even paid attention to. So yeah, I was like, why are we seeing the zipper? That doesn't make any sense. This whole thing is lined. And as a matter of fact, I'm gonna turn it inside out real quick so you can see what she's looking like. I do love the dress. I think it's beautiful. I really do. It's just maybe some adjustments with the pattern that need to happen, especially for the underarm. That's basically it, the underarm. Everything else was fine. So here is, let me stand up. So see how I showed you that earlier, how I had to handle the inset. But if you put this in correctly, all of this would be clean. You wouldn't even see any of these lines. And see how you attach the bodice to the skirt, and see how I had to serge all of that. I mean, why? This could have been fully enclosed too, right? So yeah, that was a mystery. The front inset of the skirt, well, you can't see that through the lining. So see, I made sure the whole bottom is all the black viscose linen. But everything else I thought was fine. I thought everything else was fine. I think it's absolutely beautiful. And when I put the sleeves on it, it's gonna be, because if I have my way, by the time you see the Sewing Buzz, which is the first Sunday of June, my plan is to have this dress on with these sleeves finished to prove to you I have finished it, because I don't like languishing projects. But that inset is really nice. I really like that. It made me think of my Vogue dress where I needed some more room on the side and couldn't figure that out in my mind. I don't know why, because they had instructions in there to insert a gusset. I could have just followed that for the side piece. But yeah, this here. So yeah, it has a lot of good points to the pattern, a lot of good things to learn. It's just I'm not understanding this whole armhole situation. And then for the waist, I should have just done the larger size is what I should have done. But outside of that, so I think I will hold on to this pattern, because throughout this whole process, I'm considering patterns that, you know, I make, and I'm thinking if I'm not really loving them, that I would just give them away, donate them. If somebody wants them, I'll just send it to them. Obviously, they'll know they've been cut into. But yeah, I think I'll hold on to it. I'll reassess in the summer when I go through my patterns, go through the Vogue, because you all know you're going to get a Vogue wrap up. And when I'm going to go through the rest of my Vogue that I, you know, haven't touched, and just see if there's any that I think I'm really going to sew or not. So aside from the new ones I just bought. Did you see my haul? I just did a haul, so make sure you go back and check that video. But yeah, that's it. That is it, everybody. Let me know your thoughts. Let me know your thoughts. This fabric is, remember, the viscose linen from Minerva. This is their exclusive line. This is their exclusive line. So it is absolutely beautiful. It is beautiful. So that is it, everybody. That's all I got for you today. Let me know if you have any questions. Please leave your comments down below. And yeah, you'll see this when I add the sleeves, but I'll wait and see what kind of comments you all get. Let me know your thoughts, everybody. All right, have a blessed rest of your week, and we will see you on Wednesday. Bye.